I 100% feel like I was part of some cruel medical and social experiment.
I've now been living as a woman for 28 years, and I fully regret this.
I can't believe this happened. I ruined my life.
I'm angry. What's gonna happen to the kids and the youth? I'm sad for humanity and the children and what's gonna happen.
Wish I could just very harshly say to my young pre-testosterone but trans-identifying self, don't do any of this, don't go on T, don't get surgery, don't even change your name, just stop.
I lived 8 years as Laura Jensen until I woke up and realized that it was totally insane to live this out.
Those who are struggling with their gender, this is called gender dysphoria, where they feel a particular way that doesn't line up with their physical reality. And so the technical term is gender dysphoria. And some would say that you should have a transition to match your felt reality, at least in your mind, to match your physical reality. And so gender dysphoria is that confusion, and then they are trying to seek ways to remedy that from their perspective. All right, so now that we've defined our terms, how many people are really struggling with this? Well, according to numerous statistics, the numbers are exploding in recent years. As one example, we'll take a look here at a clinic in the UK called the Tavistock Gender Identity Clinic for Children and Young People, and they've seen just a surge in referrals in the last 10 years, in the last decade or so. And these numbers are similar throughout the Western world, including here in America.
This is what I mean. This is how deep my voice is. It's gotten deeper over time, and it's settled. This is what I mean by hair loss, and it just keeps getting worse. It keeps thinning. It keeps receding backward.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I'm an 18-year-old former transgender child. I transitioned from the age of 12 up until 16 when I realized it all was a lie. My story is a cautionary tale. Children and parents across the country have been caught off guard by gender ideology. How did we get to this point?
This is what I mean by hair loss. And it just keeps getting worse. It keeps thinning. It keeps receding backward.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I'm an 18-year-old former trans.
This shit's unfortunate, but these...
Up until 16.
I forgot, I can't shut it off. Not like that. Hopefully you can hear me. These kids bought into this jazz instead of looking into it. Keep in mind, some people aren't going to have regrets. There's always been cross-dressing. Either way. At the top I wrote, it's a eugenics agenda, hence Tavistock Institute. If people looked into it, they would know that, but people argue this with me all the fucking time. And after that I put, what was it? People need to quit using social engineering jargon such as quote-unquote trans. Cross-dressing is not a gender, cross-dressing is not a race of people, and it never will be. That's a fact. All there is XX and XY. Nothing's going to change that. All right, I'm off script. Back to point. This entire agenda is a eugenics agenda through and through, and anybody with a brain in their head who chose to use it would avoid this at all cost. The they-them pronouns aspect of this is an initial step to break down people so that they accept merging man with machine. In other words, foregoing or I should say their, or I don't know. Either way, foregoing your free will and losing your humanity. And apparently this thing just kept trying to type, it's on. What the fuck do I know? Yeah. And I mentioned that because at the very top it says all of these quote-unquote trans. It doesn't say quotes, but they're using the social engineering jargon, which means they're lending themselves to this agenda. They're promoting it. And people do this all the fucking time, whether it's space propaganda or democracy, Okay, I usually rattle this off. The Republic fell during the Civil War and was finalized in 1871 when the Organic Act was put in place, which created a corporation otherwise known as the District of Columbia, which relates to Venus, which is Lucifer, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and Madonna. It's all those names, either way. So the District of Columbia was put in place. That's the bottom of the trilateral city-states. When you think of the military-industrial complex, that's the bottom of the trilateral city-states. In other words, we built a fucking military might up for our masters, and that's the bottom of the trilateral city-states. In the middle of that is religion, which you would think of as Roma, or the Catholic Church, or the Jesuits. And at the very top of the food chain, which never fucking comes up, and this is what I mean, these things never come up, you have the money, which is the crown, and it's really the city in the UK. It's called the city, and it's a banking central. known as the Crown, and that's the top of the trilateral city-states. And through these three respective aspects, we get agendas, like calling cross-dressing something other than it is. No, really. It's a fucking fact. Look into it. Don't buy into it. Use your fucking brains. That's why you have, the gray matter between your ears. But as always, what the fuck do I know?